Hi, this is Dr. Scott, and today we're going to get into our question of the day. And in 2025, people ask this number one question: when should I buy new hearing aids? You see, if they say, well, wait, I already have hearing aids, when should I buy new ones? Okay, so let's say you have a set of hearing aids, and it doesn't matter. I don't care where you got them from. I don't care if you got them from us at hearingsolutioncenters.com. I don't care if you got them from someplace else around Tulsa. I don't care if you live in Michigan and you're still in Michigan. Here's the deal. As an audiologist doing this for 35 years, I've seen every type of circumstance. I don't care if you bought it online and you thought you got the right kind of thing. Here's a couple of the circumstances. Number one, hearing aids overall span of life happens to be about 4 to 7 years. If your hearing has changed significantly, where you're actually struggling to understand, even when you have them on your ears, and your wife is saying, you know what, you don't understand me as well as you used to. And you're always saying, what? Huh? Right? When you look over at her and she's always struggling for you to understand her. Like, it would be the same way if you're, and I used to do this with my glasses, right? When I would have my glasses on, I was going, I couldn't see the clock on the VCR. No, that ages me a little bit, but I was always struggling to see things with my glasses on. It's time to get new glasses, right? And I know a lot of you struggle in that way. That means that your vision has dropped enough, even with a prescription change in those digital hearing aids, that is time. At 4 to 7 years, it definitely changes. Number two, the hearing aids in those 4 to 7 years might have changed enough, meaning that there's a generation or two, more likely 2 to 3 generations over a time frame when they don't make them anymore. Now listen, hearing aid manufacturers change generations of hearing aids about once every year. So for instance, Starkey is a mainline manufacturer. And so they come up with new hearing aids. Let me give you an example. They came up with, and I'm trying to remember the exact one here, but in 2023 or so, they had the Livio type of hearing aid. And in 2024 or so, they came up with oh, excuse me, 2022, they had the Livio. 2023, they had the Genesis. And in 2024, they had the Edge. And so, and sometimes it's a year, it's 18 months. And so you might say, well, when they come out with a new hearing aid, and there are some liars who tell you differently, that when there's a new hearing aid, the old one isn't good anymore. Well, that's a lie. That's a lie from the pit of hell. So for instance, I have an iPhone 16. So this is the latest generation phone. But even if they come up with an iPhone 17, do I need a new iPhone? Of course not. But here's one of the things that happens when you have an iPhone 12. When you have an iPhone 12, all of your apps stop working. And so you have a lot of struggles updating the apps on your phone when you have 4 generations old. And that becomes one of the things that happens on old generations on a phone. Now, it tends to be about 2 to 4 generations, to anywhere in that range, for hearing aids as well, because they don't even make them anymore. So if I tried to send them back to the factory, they say, well, I can't even make that particular hearing aid. And that tends to happen in that 4 to 7 year time frame. So you could be doing okay with your hearing and say, I'm going to keep them until they break. Fine. But here's the deal. At around 4 to 7 years, and you come into your audiologist, I don't care where you live, at 4 to 7 years, you're probably coming in. If you break that hearing aid, you're going to have to replace both of them. Why? Because they can't match both sides. And you go, wait a second, they can match the setting. No, they can't bring up both on the screen together to make them sound alike. What do you mean they can't make them sound alike? Because every time they try to bring up one, they have to unload that one, bring that one up on the screen, and you'd say, it just sounds funny. They don't sound exactly the same. Yeah, because there's all new sets of engineering mentalities that came up with that new set of hearing aids. And it's 4 generations old. Of course, it does sound different. And that's the problem. So that's why if you break a hearing aid or it just breaks for whatever reason, you're replacing both hearing aids. So that's why I would just say there's 4 to 7 years where you would have to replace them. So it's always based upon hearing loss and the breakage at a 4 to 7 year time frame where you have to do that. So I always tell people hearing aids range anywhere from $2,500, $5, $6, and $7,000 for a set of hearing aids. You might say, "Oh my gosh, I should just buy them online." Well, go ahead if you want to, but every single hearing aid that you can buy online is underfitted for hearing loss. The over-the-counter hearing aids do not work for the hearing capabilities of people who have normal hearing, have a significant hearing loss. It doesn't work. Over-the-counter hearing aids are made for a person with a borderline normal hearing. They're not made because the FDA lied to you. If you have a moderate hearing loss and beyond, you will never be able to utilize the over-the-counter hearing aids. You can actually watch my video where I actually detail that all the way through and through. Thanks so much.